What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris Moore, and in today's video we got a 2021 GSXR 750. You smell that? That's the smell of a brand new bike. This thing looks so fresh, so clean, coming in with only 50 miles on the clock. We're gonna run this thing a little bit, breaking in on the dyno, and then we are gonna make some pulls, see what kind of horsepower it makes baseline, and we are gonna rip this factory exhaust system off, and we are putting a Brock's Performance full exhaust system on this thing. Yeah, that's right, boys. Headers, exhaust, everything, all brand new, all going on this thing, and it is going to be fully done up, ECU Flash and tune, before she even gets 100 miles on her. So stay with us, guys. Let's see what we can get out of this thing. Here we go.
Alright guys, here we go, baseline pull on the 2021 GSXR 750 100th anniversary edition. I do want to stand corrected on the mileage. I looked at it wrong. It's 150 miles, not 50 miles. Either way, she still smells brand new. So, what do you think this thing's going to make? I'm going to say 126 first pull. Let's see what we get.
Alright guys, we got it up on the lift. We're about to start breaking this thing down. He's actually already got it broke down on this side, and we are going to be getting this factory exhaust system off. So here's a good look at what they look like without their clothes on. You can see he did get caught in the rain with this thing and got it all dirty, but we're going to make it look all nice and new again. That is the catalytic converter that we're going to be getting rid of. And of course the factory header system. The factory headers on a 750 are pretty good, but you do see some pretty big improvements when going with a full exhaust system. So this Brock's Performance Alien Head exhaust, not only is it going to give it a lot of sound, but it is going to give it more horsepower as well. So we're also going to go ahead and do an oil change on it. This is VP Racing full synthetic 10W40. This is a really good street oil, and then an OEM Suzuki oil filter. But this thing is about to start coming apart. Exhaust is on. So you can take a look at this full exhaust system, all black ceramic coated. We are also deleting the O2 sensor. We'll be removing this. We're about to unplug this now. We will no longer be using that, and we will be turning that off in the ECU Flash. So we're getting ready to remove that. We just did the pair block off, I guess you would say plug. There's a little plug right here, and you basically just cap that off. Brock's Performance sends that with the exhaust system, keeps the D-cell pop down. For the guys that do not like the D-cell pop, that makes a much cleaner sounding, in other words, we can still get some gurgle out of it, but nowhere near as much. We're also going to tighten the chain here. You can see in the video when we dynoed it stock, had a little bit of chain slap, and that's just normal from a brand spanking new bike getting broke in. The chain will loosen up and stretch. We're about to correct all that, put oil back in it. We should have this thing running in a second.
Alright guys, exhaust is installed. Here we go, baseline pull with the exhaust system. What do you think we're going to make? We just installed a full exhaust, about $1,500 worth of modifications. How much horsepower are we going to gain with no flash and no tune? I'm going to go out on a limb and say 128. I was a half horsepower off before, but I'm saying the $1,500 exhaust with no tune only gets us about 3 horsepower. Let's see what we come up with.
Guys, so basically we lost horsepower with the exhaust system installed. Okay, and I'm going to show you why. So the run here, the blue run, is our factory bike that we just did, and then this is our air fuel ratio, here the red line. So I did not actually have the air fuel ratio hooked up on the blue run to show you what the difference was, but I can see here that we lost horsepower. Okay, where we lost horsepower, the air fuel ratio, crazy lean right here. So the higher this is, that means super lean. You can see here it's off the chart as soon as we nail the throttle, and look how down our horsepower is. So everywhere this goes super lean, it actually loses power. Even here, you know, where we're almost the same horsepower, we're still nowhere near enough fuel. And then up top, we made a tiny squeak more power, but we're still down. Now let me show you what goes on inside the ECUs on this thing. So I've got a file pulled up here in the ECU, and this is what they call secondary throttle plate opening. And you can see we're on mode A and gear 5, which is where we dyno them at, okay? So you can see here, this 94.5, this is at 12,000 RPMs. This 94.5 is what the ECU considers wide open, okay? Well, then after that, you can see at 13,000 RPMs, you see we're all the way down to 78% across the board. So this is a restriction. Whenever the bike hits 13,000, it closes the throttle plates back off. But another thing is, it doesn't open the throttle plates wide open until 9,200 RPMs. So we're restricted. We're not getting all the horsepower we signed up for right off the bat. When we go to first gear, you'll see the restriction is just as bad, and even more in the lower RPM range here. So we're gonna do that. There's also some restrictions in ECU ignition timing. And then another cool thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go in and lower the fan temps, basically to 100, that's in Celsius, but that's approximately 195 degrees. We're gonna disable that O2 sensor that I told you about. We're gonna disable the exhaust valve that I told you about. And we can also disable deceleration fuel cut. What that option does is that gives you the gurgling and popping when you let off the gas. That is something that we can do if you like that. That also makes the bike run smoother when you're on and off the throttle. So when you let off, the injectors keep spraying fuel just a little bit. You see that's fuel, for those of you who didn't know. But anyways, the injectors keep spraying that fuel, and it keeps the bike a smoother transition when you go back to accelerate back on the throttle. So anyways, that's all a preference thing. I can make the bike run smoother without the decel fuel cut if you don't like that gurgling and popping, but some people love the gurgling, popping, and flames on decel. So that's all up to you.
All right, guys, so we've got the ECU Flash done. No more check engine light. Now we're gonna run it with a baseline pull, just kind of see where our air fuel ratio is at. This should be pretty close. It'll be way better than stock. I think our horsepower is gonna really jump up. Let's see what happens. Should notice a much smoother throttle response. tweak the air fuel ratios. That was basically a mail-in flash from an M4 exhaust system. It was a full exhaust, but it was an M4. That goes to show you how different exhaust systems flow different amounts. So we're gonna have a full tune for our Brock system now, and let's see what kind of power we get out of this thing. I think it's gonna jump on up a little bit now. Had to just kind of, I guess you'd say, get a baseline there with that, and now we should be dialed in pretty close. Guys, I made a few pulls without you, kept playing with it just a smidge, ended up with 134 horsepower and 58 foot-pounds of torque. You can see we had really nice gains. So the blue line is when he very first got here. That was pull number 1. And then it took us 21 pulls later, but we ended up with 134 horsepower. You can see here where we've extended our rev limiter, got a little bit more RPMs out of it that way. But the main thing is, look up here where the secondary throttle plates were starting to close off. We went from 122
to 133. These gains are going to be huge. And even here you can see we went from 123 to 133. So 10 horsepower across the board. We do not have torque reading. I do have torque reading for run number 3. That's when I hooked up the RPM signal. And you can see we went from 53 to 58 by fine tuning the air fuel ratios and getting all this stuff dialed in. What do you think about this 2021 GSXR 750, the Brock's Performance Exhaust System? Do you like the way it looks? Do you like the way it sounds? I like the way it performs. 134 is about the top dog on a 750 that we've done so far. I did do a M4 full exhaust one time, and I think it made around 132, 133. Could have even made 134, so pretty close. I do like the way this exhaust system sounds. Sounds super, super good, really nice and deep. Definitely, if you just heard this thing ripping down the road, you would not know it was a 750. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. That's going to conclude everything for what we've done today. If you have any questions, shout out to us at moremafia.com. We can offer you ECU flashes for the GSXR 750s to remove all these restrictions that I showed you out of your ECU. Just let me know what kind of bike you have, what kind of exhaust modifications you have, and we will have a tune set up just for you. All right, guys, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and as always, guys, we'll see you next time.